Today we are headed to Boulder, Colorado to visit a small local bike shop, and he's going to tell us all about how he's handling the bike industry slowdown while also revealing his unique service strategy that might seem a bit unheard of. This is a huge space where they do consignment sales, so this is the place to be if you want nice, affordable outdoor equipment. The bike pricing structure is pretty interesting. The longer the bike sits, the cheaper it gets. So you could theoretically get this Trek Farley for $135 if it sat long enough. Standard Repair Bike Shop is located within this business. This place has so much cool stuff, and you can get high-end parts and apparel at very affordable prices. All right, we are here at Boulder Sports Recycler at Standard Bike Repair, and we have Ryan here. And I wanted to showcase his shop and let you know a little bit about what's going on in here and let you learn a little bit about Ryan, because he has a cool setup in here, some interesting bikes all around. You know I love my old school bikes. He's got a lot of old school bikes in here, and he has one perk of getting your bike repaired here that he needs to tell you about. And that's super interesting. So make sure you stay to hear about that. But first of all, how did you get started, and how long have you been in here?
I've been in Boulder Sports Recycler since April 1st of this year. I did bike repair out of my cottage home in central Boulder for 15 years.
After 15 years, what made you decide to come in here?
I was renting the cottage. I had lived there for 18 years. And when I moved in, the landlord's grandchildren were babies. When I moved out, they were ready to go to college, and they wanted to use that little cottage to send their grandchildren to school. And for a brief minute, I didn't know what to do with my life, and I put the business up for sale, and a friend of the owner recommended that I talk to Mick and Izzy about possibly uniting forces. And one thing led to another, and now we have a bike repair shop, my business within their business, which is the Boulder Sports Recycler, that sells used outdoor goods on consignment.
That's awesome. And would you say it was worth the move? Do you like it here so far, and how's it been going for you?
It has been going great. This year's gross revenue is higher than the year before. I like people milling around all the time. I like not having the bike shop in my living room. Things and opportunities weren't available to me before, such as access to certain wholesale bike parts, like quality bike products, or even a new line of bikes. I can now sell bikes such as e-bikes, but also group classes, which Claire has suggested that I do.
Claire, come over here. They got to see Claire. He just mentioned Claire, so you got to see Claire. This is a subscriber, just got a Roscoe 7. This is Claire, and she connected us together, which is a great thing because I love this whole situation in here. I'm just a little shocked at how much you can get in such a small space.
275 square feet, but it's almost the exact same square footage I had in my old space.
So 275 square feet, all this stuff fit in. You got anything to say about that, Claire?
Every inch matters.
Don't say that.
Over here at the tools section right now, which brings up one of the subjects that I wanted to talk about. Now, you talked about you want a same day turnaround. You bring the bike in, you want to fix it right away, get them out the door. To a lot of us, that sounds insane because if we go into a bike shop, can you leave it for 2 weeks? Can you leave it for a week? That's usually the response we get. But you want to turn it around the same day. I want to know, how have you been able to do that? And how is that even possible?
A long time ago, when I was first investigating bike shops, I saw a guy take my wheel, bring it to the back, true the wheel. Well, actually, I didn't even know what he did, but let's say less than 3 to 5 minutes later, the bike was straighter and he wanted $25 for it. I wanted to know what he did in the back and why it cost $25. I just prefer to do it in front of people and have a conversation while I do it. Another experience at that same shop, I was waiting to get some brakes fixed and I saw a customer turn his bike into the mechanic and he said, I would like to watch you do it, maybe I could bring some beer. And the mechanic said, I don't like people hovering over my shoulder, I don't know when I'm gonna fix it, and there's probably liability reasons and you just can't. And that little instance made me realize that there is a demand or a desire for people to watch or see what happens with their bikes.
That's incredible that you are able to do that. I want to know, what if multiple bikes come in, or does it depend on what kind of work needs to be done? Does it ever pile up where you just can't get it done that same day or right away?
Definitely. I would say 70 to 80% of the tune-ups are done on the spot. A lot of people come in for a tune-up, which is a very broad and vague term, and generally it just means one or two things. Like if you come in and you've got a flat tire and your headset's loose, I'm gonna put the flat tire, tighten the headset, make sure nothing else is loose, and send you on your way. You will have paid, you will have a good experience that translates into better Google reviews, and you didn't wait. And you also tell your friends. So down the road, people keep coming.
So as a bike shop owner, especially as an independent bike shop owner, obviously a lot of stuff is slowed down. So how do you manage those slow times?
Every winter, it gets slow. And admittedly, I do have second and third jobs. I have a real estate license. I've driven for Uber. I do construction. I've even asked my family for help. It just happens during the winter, and how to best get through that is an every year challenge.
I love it. Just vulnerability and being honest. I just love it. Because I tell you all the time, I turn down deals because I got other forms of making money where I don't have to sell you something every time I make a video. So I definitely understand where you're coming from with that. But what would you say bike shops can improve as far as customer retention? Because a lot of people order bikes online nowadays. Obviously, I like to come into bike shops and we should support the local bike shops. But with online retail and stuff, it's just tough because they have a lot of the better prices. But how can shops attract more customers, you think, and keep those customers?
Customer service, obviously, and I don't sell new bikes here. I am looking at possibly selling e-bikes down the line, but I currently don't. Whenever I give advice to people, I say just don't go online. You can't fix it very easily. Like you can't just send it back. Like if somebody sells you it, they sell you the right one. If there's something slightly wrong, you can go into them. The amount of money that you save online, unless you truly know what you're doing, oftentimes gets negated. If you buy your bike from a shop and then you need something, you've already established a relationship. Let's say you need something, a repair in the middle of the summer, and you bought your bike from there and you know the mechanic, like you can just be like, this is wrong, and they will fix it. They won't put it in a queue. It's almost the customer's job to take it upon themselves to have a relationship with their bike shop. As a bike shop, I just try to do the best I can with each customer.
I totally agree with everything you just said, because I'm the type, I want to see it in person. I want to get on the bike in person. And if I have some issues, I want to take it to a shop. And I've never personally bought a bike online with my own money. I've never done that. Every bike I've bought has been inside of a shop for those reasons. Plus, I like being able to talk about the bike, share the experience with somebody as I'm purchasing the bike, especially if they walk me through the whole process. And I think that's way more valuable than saving a couple $100s. All right, so I wanted to go back to the on the spot repairs because I think that's something that you don't see every day. And I wanted to ask you what made you come up with that concept?
I like people, and I'd rather do it with you and in front of you and not like do it in the back more than anything. When people do drop off their bikes for tune-ups, and of course if you're too busy, etc., I do allow that, but lots of times fixing that customer's bike is partially about me finding a podcast or a YouTube channel to listen to while I'm fixing a bike. I am more engaged. Also, I don't necessarily want a big queue of bikes. Lots of times people they know that something's wrong with their bike and they ask for a tune-up. I would rather look at it with you and get into the 1, 2, or 3 things that it's actually wrong. And most of the time, it would take a half an hour or less to get you back on the road. So it's a personal thing and also an efficiency thing.
That's a great concept because as busy as we are nowadays, doing it on the spot helps you and me and everybody else get on with our days, and we can get in and get out and get back on the bikes. Now, there are repair costs that come with that, and a lot of people can't believe how much it costs to fix bikes. But with that strategy you have, I think that's a huge advantage to customers to be able to have that flexibility to know I can bring my bike in and have it fixed the same day. And I think that's worthy of the cost itself, in my opinion. I would definitely pay for that convenience. So what do you say about what it takes to run a bike shop and be able to keep the lights on in here?
One of the things that I do as a bike shop owner to be able to do all those things on the spot is to carry 1 or 2 of everything. And yes, that is a tall order. And if your bike is, let's say, a certain amount of expensiveness, I don't necessarily have those integrated shifters that you broke but now need. But whether you need a 26-inch tire or a 700C tube, like I have a lot of stuff, from brake calipers to chains to cassettes. Inventory is a huge part of being able to fix those on the spot. As far as like keeping the lights on, I am constantly working on fair ways to charge for the services, and that is a big conversation, but constantly striving to charge correctly.
Yeah, and I think personally, as a customer myself, if we want local bike shops like yours and others to stick around, we have to take it upon ourselves to get in here and support the local shops and really appreciate the value they bring to us, especially somebody like Ryan who will fix your bike on the spot. You don't get that too often. But that was one other question I had was, is it pretty hard to keep up with in the summer? But looking around at all the bikes and stuff, are these the normal kind of bikes you deal with, or do you get some super complex bikes in here as well that really can bog down the flow in the summertime?
Heavy bikes, full suspension bikes, e-bikes, those I can't put up in the ceiling. Sometimes just things or parts issues or just problems do come up. I will say one of the drawbacks of a one-person bike shop is that sometimes I don't have another mechanic in the shop. If I get stuck, who do I ask? But I pretty much am on a first name basis with most of the other bike shops in town, and it is not uncommon for me to bring a bike that I'm working on to another mechanic.
That's actually pretty awesome. I never thought about that. And that's cool that the community aspect is there and you got some help when you need it. because yeah, I bet in the summertime it's hard to turn these bikes around. But yeah, we are here in Standard Bike Repair, and if you ever want to come check it out and get your bike done on the spot, this is the place to be. I want to thank Ryan for having me. I really appreciate you having me. This is awesome, and I've wanted to go around and talk to different bike shops, and this is one of the most interesting bike shops and most interesting business models that I've ever seen, and I love it actually. So I hope you can sustain it. That's a lot of work, but I believe in you.
Thank you for coming, and little things like a YouTube channel with a healthy following make things go forward.
All right, there you have it, Ryan at Standard Bike Shop.